Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Grand Teton Music Festival's Backstage Pass, your weekly invitation to gather, to be in the company of friends, to learn, and to connect with our musical GTMF community. Today is show one, number one, and we'll be talking with violinists Madeline Adkins and Marta Krechkovsky. My name is Cappelletti Chao, and I'm a violinist for nearly 20 years with the Grand Teton Music Festival.
And my name is Jerry Ho. I'm the Associate Conductor for the Grand Teton Music Festival, and we are happy that you've joined us for our program today.
This is Mike Richards, and he is our production manager and tech guru of this nascent put-together programming. So
thank you very much, Eva. I will take my leave, and you guys carry it away.
Great.
Could we have Marta and Madeline join us, please?
Hi.
Hi, Madeline. How are you?
Good. How are you guys? Great to be here.
Wonderful to have you. Marta's coming on shortly. While she's coming on, won't you tell us where you're... Hi, Marta. How are you?
Hi, everyone.
So great glad to see you. So just to get us started with who you are, where you are, and how many years you've been with the festival, and then I'm back.
Sure. I am the concertmaster of the Utah Symphony during the year, and this would have been my fourth summer. I actually came back in 2002 for one summer, and then this would have been my third summer returning recently, so I'm gonna miss it.
And I'm a violinist in the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, and this summer would have been my fifth summer at the festival.
So how does it feel? I mean, I think all of us are disappointed not to be coming, and we have the hope of the Music in the Mountains towards the end of August. And I know both of you have been invited to join and participate in that. But, you know, I think the summer, sort of the longer stretch of time of being there, what are some of the things that you're going to miss and coming to Jackson and to the GTMF? Madeline, you want to go first?
Sure. It's such an amazing, the orchestra is such a family. And that was something that was apparent to me from the very, when I returned in 2018, was that these are people, the musicians have been coming and making music there together for decades. And it's such an incredible kind of family atmosphere. And it was so warm and welcoming to me that I couldn't wait to go back. And I was thrilled to be invited back and then again this year. And so I'm really going to miss that because it's a special quality to the music that you make together when, you know, everybody, there's that warmth, that real family feeling, and everybody's really rowing in the same direction, and everyone wants to be there, you know, and it's such a special place for that reason.
Absolutely. I know that when people leave, it's always like the countdown of the days until the beginning of the festival next year. So it's only usually like 300 and so many days until then. And how about you, Marta? You've been there 5 years. You've tackled a lot of the hiking. We've had a chance to do a little hiking together.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Madeline. Of course, we're there for the music because musicians are so incredible. You know, they come from all orchestras around the country, but it is so obvious from like my first summer there. I saw how friendly everyone is and that everyone knows each other for years, and it's just such a warm environment, and the beautiful scenery, of course. You know, that's just you can't imagine anything greater, you know, to spend your summer. So yeah, it's such a special place, and of course every year I'm counting, and I've been counting, you know, to be there this summer, and unfortunately, of course, it's not gonna happen how we're used to, but yeah, it's a very special place, and that's why it's great that I at least get to see you guys right now on the screen. But I'll definitely miss all the hiking.
I remember watching a little presentation by Tom Hooten, who's also a dear friend of the Grand Teton Music Festival. And he felt like this was like a second chance to practice, like he's been wanting to practice for a long time. Of course, that certainly describes Tom to a T, but I didn't know how the two of you have been handling, or not handling, but just sort of using the time that we have that's sort of all of a sudden become available to everyone in the world. Marta, do you want to?
Well, Yeah, it's obviously it's a very hard time for, you know, for us musicians, because what we love to do and what we work so hard for, you know, to perform for our audiences, we can of course do that, and that's just, it's heartbreaking. But I mean, I'm in California. I'm with my sister and her husband, and so I've been here, I guess, almost 12 weeks. And you know, I of course try to practice. It's not always easy. It's some days are better than others, because you know, when you don't have things in your schedule right now, it's for me it is hard. But Pittsburgh Symphony, you know, they have these bright spots on their website and their Facebook page. So every week they have 3 of them. And so I did one it was on May 18th, I think, that they posted it, you know. So I did a recording with my brother-in-law of Debussy. And so that was something nice to do. And musicians page, musicians of the Pittsburgh Symphony, they every week we do these mini live concerts. So I did that also with my sister and her husband. So that was really, really fun to do. And of course, it kind of keeps you, you know, wanting to prepare for, you know, for that. So that was really fun. And of course, audiences enjoy it so much. And that's kind of something that Pittsburgh audience are now waiting for. And, you know, they call those series Sunday Night Live. So it's something, you know, fun. So few fun things, definitely, you know, that I did was nice, but otherwise it's tricky.
One of the things I saw was Madeline, you and Jason Harding, who's also a pianist with GTMF. You had a beautiful performance of the Thais, the meditation from Thais. And was that part of, I know that the Utah Symphony had a gala, sort of a virtual gala. Was that part of the gala, or is it something separate?
Yes, yeah. We, one of the things that I was working on through most of May was as part of a task force with the Utah Symphony. Jason and I and 2 other musicians were helping from the musician side, creating content. I was a project manager for video shoots for Beethoven 7, where we went out to the salt flats and shot footage of the musicians. So taking on a somewhat administrative role was interesting and time consuming. But yeah, the Thais was part of that, because since we're Utah Symphony, Utah Opera, that was to be our last production of the season. So I think I was missing a chance to play it, and it seemed to really fit in well with the vibe of the event that we had online about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's great. And do either of you have any other projects that we can look forward to, or what are you going to be doing with some of the time that you would have been spending in Jackson this summer?
Well, I'm doing this Concert Masters Coast to Coast thing that comes out, I think, in 2 weeks or so, which is a Bach double slow movement with 8 concertmasters from around the United States, Minnesota, Dallas, National. There's 8 of us, so that'll be kind of fun. And personally, I also, like Marta, you know, find ups and downs. Some days I actually want to practice, which is surprising. You're always getting ready for the next performance, and there was never enough time. And so I think a lot of us needed to like decompress from that a little bit and sort of say, you know, wow, I mean, to kind of get back in touch with why we're doing this, you know what I mean? And so for me, one of the amazing things has been that I've started learning the C major fugue, the Bach, which I swore I would never play. The last time I played a fugue in concert was about 8 years ago, and I thought, you know, I don't need to do this. It's too difficult. I'm never going to learn the C major. I'm just not going to do it. And so now all of a sudden I found myself in possession of all this time, and I started working on it, and there's no pressure. There's no concert. No one's going to hear it but me. And it is such a magnificent piece of music that I thought I would never say that. So I'm just trying to keep myself open to how I might feel or what I might want to do, because this is just an unprecedented time and we just don't know, you know. I'm trying to do different things than I normally would do.
I was saying to Jerry in one of our first conversations, which is really what kind of created this, that, you know, I had all the music on my music stand, you know, P7 and various gigs and concertmaster solo and, you know, whatever, just all this various stuff. And as each gig called and canceled, it would go to the floor, right? To the floor, to the floor. And finally in the back of my music stand was my scales and arpeggios and etudes. And it's so delicious to play for me. Like no one else gets to tell me, and I get to like do my really slow, work it all out. It was so, it's what you said, you know, we're so used to just what does somebody else want? What does somebody else, you know, what's next on my stand according to who? And then to come back into that is, I think, one of the gifts, at least, and I don't think I'm alone in this, of this time. To really connect back to what you care about. And that when you said, Madeline, you know, I found that I wanted to, I had the same, I needed to rest for a while. And then I found my own impetus, not to do it well or something for someone else. It was just, wow, this music is awesome.
You guys are so lucky. You can, you know, play great repertoire on your instruments. You know, I try conducting for myself, and after about, you know, 90 seconds, I get depressed and I move on to something else. But I've been spending a lot of time with Remy, and that's sort of been my project for this time. But Marta, I was gonna, for you as well, you know, you were saying that you had this where you were playing for the Pittsburgh musicians, and do you have anything else coming? Sort of summers of time that for all the orchestras, they sort of go a little bit more, they take a little break. And so is the Pittsburgh Symphony going to stay active, or will you be staying active in other ways?
Yeah, you know, it's still, everything is just so up in the air. Maybe there is a possibility that we might play something small, maybe small ensembles, but it's just so much, you know, Pittsburgh is moving into the green phase, but you know, who knows what that's going to be. I like to have the hope, at least, that there will be something maybe, but yeah, otherwise not too much. I do know that maybe something in the Tetons will happen in August. So, you know, that is actually, it's nice to have that hope for me, because it's just to have something, even if it's not for sure, but just something there in the background. For me, it helps a lot, because otherwise, for now, I mean, nothing that really I know that's coming up. But just as Eva was saying, I mean, at least the practicing, I haven't really gotten to be like, oh, let me learn something new that I really wanted to. Somehow I'm not there, but the doing scales and etudes I have been, if, you know, Schradig exercises, don't etudes, this and that. So for now, yeah, that's kind of my situation.
Well, I know that there are some questions here from the audience, and I didn't know if you want to convey them and see what Madeline and Marta can share with us.
So we have a great question for our guests. It's from Doug Flint. Can we invite him on, Mike?
Hey, Doug, you're on.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? It's
Hello.
great to see you all. I have a quick question, and that question is, did you always know you wanted to be professional musicians? And what was that process or that moment in your life like?
I was about, I guess, you know, like a lot of violinists want to be soloists or chamber musicians, but I really decided in my mid-teens, like about 15, that I wanted to be a concertmaster. This was what I decided. And my teacher wasn't totally happy with me. He wanted me to pursue solo stuff. And he told me, he said, well, if you're going to be a soloist, you have to practice 8 hours a day. So I did that for about 2 weeks. And I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. 8 hours a day at 15 when you're trying to go to school, you know, and everything. So I decided that the concertmaster, you could get a lot of the upside of being a soloist without quite as much practice and quite as much traveling, and maybe just the upside and not any of the downside. So that was the path that I chose.
That's a good answer. From Philippe Chao, if you get back to Jackson this summer, which hike will you tackle first, and which restaurant will you go to first? So that's from Phil, right on target. Important.
Well, the first place I always go is Dornan's. I love it. I love it. Ever since the first time I went there, you know, it's like the perfect post-hike. You have your beer and pizza place. It's just the best. I would drive 4 hours from here just to go there. As far as hiking, my last year when we were there, my husband had just had knee surgery, and so we took it really easy last year. Mostly did only flat hikes. So this year I want to tackle some of the harder things. Maybe not the 16-milers just yet, but some more canyons, some more steeper hikes. But usually the first one I do is Bradley Taggart, just because it's so beautiful and I just love it. So
Yeah.
And for me, I think for the restaurant, I probably would go to Teton Thai because I love Thai food, and I usually when I'm in Tetons, I stay right there. So it's like a everyday pretty much occurrence, but I do miss it.
They know you by name.
Yeah, especially their, tofu appetizer. I just love their crispy tofu. Anyways, to the hikes, I mean, I've done some really great big ones, but maybe something like Sleeping Indian, which I've never done, but I hear is difficult and long, but that's something maybe I would like to do.
It's a great one. It was my first one a couple of years ago, and beautiful view, and
Marta
yeah,
does.
Jerry, I know you've done so many hikes, so you probably have done all of them.
No, I still have a few on my list to check off. So
thank you, Madeline. Thank you, Marta. Thank you, Jerry, for being an awesome co-host. I'm appreciative of Mike, who's been running all of this so smoothly. And thank you all the people that are watching it and the participants. Really, this whole thing has been created so that we can see each other again, so that in this time that is feeling so individual, so quarantined, that we get to be with the people that we care about. And so I'm grateful that you guys are here. I'm grateful for the people who are sending their comments, and just more of that, please. So every Friday, this is going to happen every Friday, so that even you guys next Friday come back on and watch to see who we speak with next. Jerry, can you introduce who's going to be here for next Friday at 5 o'clock East Coast time?
So that is 3 o'clock Jackson time. So next Friday, we'll have a viola duo. We'll have Joan Der Hosepian, a dear friend and colleague from here in Houston, and we'll have Ali Goodman, who is actually over there in DC with you guys.
Yeah.
So we'll be enjoying having a chance to speak with them. And of course, you guys should come and watch. And also something that I didn't mention at the top of the show, but something that we're hoping to do more after the show is to have sort of an informal hangout with a nice, refreshing beverage in hand. We're thinking about having the Spur sponsor it. But sort of as after every concert,
it's all virtual.
At the Spur, we're sort of a post hangout, so that everybody will be on screen, and we'll have a chance to chat with everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Hope to see you soon. Come back next week.
Yeah. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.